Jumbo, fellow adventurers, it's Mike Dooley, deeply honored at the outpouring of interest, love, and overall good vibes for this brand new 90-minute workshop, The Dream, the Journey, Eternity, and God. 25,000 people, and folks are still signing up. So, oh my gosh, good thing I can't see all of you right now. Not that it would matter at all. I'm being guided, no doubt about it. I'm so thrilled after knowing this amazing woman for 2 years to be able to bring her to the TUT platform, if you will, and to introduce not only her, but the council to all of our Tutters and anyone everywhere, wherever you may be right now. We've got a bunch of questions on deck where I get to ask the council for their wisdom. And many of you have taken our offer and sent in questions that will be filtered in to the list of questions I have concerning the dream, the journey, eternity, God. At one point, just so you know, I was going to go through each of these segmentally, but I could immediately see that based on the fluidity of the council and my experience working with them, it's going to be better if I keep more of an open agenda. So we're going to hit all these topics, but we're going to let it flow, how and where it flows. We know that this is going to be the way to have the maximum impact on all of you. This is about us living a life where we might, or the council might call it a heaven on earth existence. It's here, it's available. We are the eyes and the ears of God Almighty come alive in the dream of life. Let me make a couple of quick announcements. If you're watching right now live versus the recording, please realize that there is a place to chat, and we'd love to know where you're from. We'd love to know what points we scored, what epiphanies you walk away with, what questions remain. And we're actually going to be fitting in some questions from you that are submitted live, in addition to the ones that you pre-submitted. If you're watching on mobile right now, it might be a little bit tricky. So here's the instructions. Click the title of the live stream above the video that you see in front of you this minute, and you will be taken to live chat. We want to hear from you. The more discussion, the better. We'll do our best to read every single comment that you post, every single question. Of course, with 25,000 people tuning in, we're not going to be able to get to everybody's question. The other announcement, given the enthusiasm and the love and the vibrations, the interest you have in channeled messages, I got together with Sara and we're like, look, we just can't do one and done. We can't just stop after this initial debut. So we have been sharpening our pencils and colluding cross-country to come up with a program for those of you who would like to go farther than today. This program is already titled The Art of Channeling, an Adventure into Higher Wisdom, a 4-part, 4 workshops, 90 minutes each, to help anyone and everyone who's interested to become their own channel. Sara's doing it. She'll tell you her story in just a minute. Many of you know of the Seth material channeled by Jane Roberts. Seth just kind of showed up into their life. Many of you know Abraham, channeled by Esther Hicks. She was selling Amway with her husband, and they were doing self-improvement, motivation, listening to the Seth material, and they wondered, could we channel too? And Abraham came through. Sara has already helped a lot of people develop their own channeling abilities. And if I can quote Seth, who's one of my all-time favorite teachers, Seth said, you can come awake from your normal waking state. And that is the next natural step for consciousness on planet Earth, here and now, to follow. The next natural step for consciousness, me and you, is to come awake within the dream. And channeling is a step in that direction. So next week, details to come, and there's a link below right now. There's already a link to this program. We're going to be kicking off this 4-part workshop on the art of channeling. But let's get a glimpse of Sara. Are you there, Sara?
I'm here. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so thrilled to be here. Oh my gosh, this is just a dream come true. And as I was listening to you do the intro, I was feeling this incredible feeling of appreciation. And it's for you, it's for your team, it's for this opportunity, it's for everyone that's here. But I also realized it's not just my appreciation, it's the appreciation of everyone here's higher self, acknowledging how far you've come on your journey in this experience to open your heart and receive the messages of divine love that are you and that you're sharing with the world. And this is going to be so much fun. And I think for some people, you're going to walk away from this and you are never going to be the same. At least that was my experience when I first met the council. So it may be a feeling like coming home, or coming home to the truth within you that you've always known somewhere was there for you. And now you're going to know how to access that and know that it's always there guiding you. The council says we are always with you and we are always available to you. So let the fun begin.
Okay, well, I'm sure there are newbies here who didn't see some of our promos. So just really quickly, before the council gets here, Sara, your story in a nutshell, an ordinary person, an entrepreneur, high-tech IT, and then suddenly you're speaking for the disincarnate and you've switched careers. How did you get here?
Oh my gosh. Well, I have to begin with my childhood. I had a really incredible, loving childhood. My family was very religious, very Christian, loved Jesus, loved God. And I grew up feeling so much love and support. And yet, from a very young age, I just knew something more. I couldn't explain it. I remember one time hearing my aunt say, if you can see it, it's not very far away. And something meant more to me in those words that I could feel, that something about me being able to see it meant it wasn't very far away. And that is one of the first moments I remember this curiosity into really understanding the higher power, source, God, what is it? And in my mid-teenage years, I got very involved in personal development myself. I was really passionate about the art and science of achievement, how to be successful, this idea that no matter what your circumstances or conditions were, you could become something in your life. And so I bought the tapes and I bought the CDs and I followed them, and I became very successful through a lot of hard work and just right place, right time, amazing mentors and people that supported me along the way. But I ended up in this corporate career that was just amazing. And I got to travel the world. We were right place, right time in the tech world and did really, really well. And from an outside view, it would look like a seemingly great life. And yet inside, I knew I wasn't living my purpose. And I knew I really wasn't doing what I felt like I was called to do in life. But I had no idea what that was. And if anybody in the world would have told me, you're going to leave, your corporate office and go channel a group of non-physical beings called the council, I would have been like, no way, you got the wrong person here. But if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan, because things don't always work out the way you think they're going to. And in my experience, if you will allow it, they work out far better than you could ever imagine for yourself. And so while I was very spiritual, I was a very closet spiritual person. I was reading some channeled material at that time, but I certainly wasn't talking openly about it. And I had this experience that I know was, although one of the most emotionally devastating experiences in my life, was orchestrated for me on my path and there to support me in coming into my truth and coming into my power and a higher perspective of what's really going on here. And what happened was my brother had died in a car crash. And when I walked into his viewing, I sat down in this cold, emotional, heavy, just devastated room of my family. And I was sitting there, and after a few minutes, this energy started at the top of my head and just went through my entire body. And I went completely into a state of peace, I was warm. I was completely peaceful. There was this liquid love that was moving through my whole body. And I heard as clear as day, I'm still here. I'm just not in there. And I said back in my head to my brother, where are you? And he said, I'm just as here as I ever was. I just left the density of the body, and I'm at a rate of vibration that your human physical senses can't interpret me. But I am here, be in peace. All really is well. And after a few minutes of this conversation and this message and this awareness and this love and this peace, it receded. And I'm back in that room. And I know for sure that if it would not have been for the incredible love and desire to stay connected and reconnect and connect again to my brother and that energy and feeling him and his guidance, I may have just dismissed it as, wow, that was crazy, right? But I couldn't, because I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to connect with him. I wanted to know he was there. I had a funny experience today. I said, okay, if you're still with me, because someone asked me when we did the YouTube or the Facebook Live event, someone asked me if I could still connect with my brother. And I said, yeah, I do. And here's my experience. But I went, okay, really, if you're still there, let me know. And I was walking out of the gym about an hour after I said that. And this person was walking in, and this lady goes, what's your name again, to this man? And of course, it was my brother's name. So little signs, little cues, divine orchestration, right place, right time. But anyway, so after that experience happened, I went back to my corporate life, tried to kind of pretend like I was normal, However, every time I got in an airplane, I was reading a channeled book. I was looking for the answer of, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Who am I? How do I live my highest potential? And a lot of the answers that I received in personal development were set goals and take massive determined action and work really, really hard, and you can do or be anything. And that's true. However, I did all that, and I got to the place where I went, wait, I achieved the goals. I made that amount of money. I bought that thing. I got everything on the vision board. Why am I still not feeling like I'm living my purpose? Why do I still not really know who I am? Why do I feel like the purpose and the meaning in my life isn't there the way I feel like it's supposed to be or meant to be? And so it was this asking. And the next thing that started happening for me was I would wake up in the middle of the night. What I now know is automatic writing was occurring, where I would grab a pen and a piece of paper and I would just start writing. This energy would come through me and I would just write. And then it would stop and I would go back to sleep. And the next morning I would read it. And it was the most incredible wisdom. It was the answers to my questions. It was a clear description of who you really are and why you're here, and what is consciousness and what is vibration and why does it matter? And why is it that we take massive determined action and push and force and make things happen only to feel a lack of purpose and meaning in our life? It was all the answers I was looking for. And I was journaling these answers in the middle of the night, but I couldn't control the energy. I couldn't tell you whether it was going to happen tonight or not. It was just spontaneous, but this continued on for a long period of time. And I found myself in a moment where I was really asking the question of, what is my soul's desires? I want to know what my soul's desires are for my life. I want to know what my soul's plans are. Like, I really want to know why I'm here. And I ended up in a yoga class next to this woman, and we were there a few different times together. And I finally said, how are you liking yoga? And she's like, wow, I'm never coming back. And I said, why? And she said, oh, just, I don't like it, but people in my business do it. And I said, what's your business? And she said, well, I help people get in touch with their higher selves and their souls. And I'm like, I think I need to talk to you. And so divine orchestration, of course. And I ended up having a quantum hypnosis healing technique session with her, QHHT, which is developed by Dolores Cannon, of many of you know. And what happened in these sessions was just something I couldn't have ever imagined or dreamed of. And I certainly wasn't asking for specifically, although I was asking for these questions that I couldn't find the answer to. And they were coming through me, kind of spontaneously. But what happened was, I went into this meditation, this beautiful meditation and visualization. And we came to the point where she said, can we talk to Sara's higher self? And soon after, this energy came through my body. I was completely conscious. I was aware of what was being said. I was speaking it, but it certainly wasn't coming from my consciousness or my awareness. And it was the most profound wisdom, the highest viewpoint, the grandest perspective, the most incredible wisdom and information. And this went on. It was all recorded. And when it receded, I don't even know if I knew that was channeling at the time, but I was like, wow. And I just started to do these sessions on a frequent basis and go through this meditation and activation. I was laying on a bed and with my eyes closed. It took me like 15 minutes. And after a period of time, this wisdom was just completely changing my life. I was just re-listening to what they said and writing down what they said and living it. And my life was changing. And then I had some people ask me, hey, can we talk to the voice? And that's really what it was called then. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Let's try. And so it really was never intentionally about creating a business out of it. But other people started changing their lives and they were having amazing experiences. And then someone asked if I could speak to groups. And I'm like, I really don't know. Let's try it. I didn't know if the counselor was going to show up or not. Over time, people continued to ask, who am I talking to? And they said, it really doesn't matter what you call us. But the closest explanation that we can give you is that we are a council, a collective of ascended master beings that are here to help elevate your consciousness. We're here because we promised we would be, so that you would never forget who you really are and why you're here and what you intended when you chose this life experience. And so from there, it just expanded and expanded. And now you called, I'd never heard this term, but you called me a professional channeler. For many years of my life, I channeled 6 to 8 hours a day. And while I know, and I know this is one of your questions, everyone has the ability to do this for themselves. Everyone, no matter who you are, and you probably do, even though you don't know that you do, or aren't intentionally trying to do it. You probably have had experiences of fully opening your channel and letting your gifts and your abilities and higher awareness or divine love through you. Everyone can do
Let's
it.
do it.
I just
Let's do
it for hours. So,
okay,
but it's
are
my
you ready?
absolute joy. Yes.
Okay, what would you like, Sara? What can we do to facilitate?
Okay. So are we going to bring in the council now?
Yeah, I think so. And is there anything else that you wanted to share?
No, I'm so excited. This is just amazing. So let me explain a little bit, whether you know about channeling or you don't know about channeling. In the past, like Seth Speaks, Jane Roberts had an experience where she was a complete trance channel. Edgar Cayce, same thing. They closed their eyes. They knew nothing that was going on. The higher intelligence came through them. That's not my experience. And it's also not my experience that most people who channel now have the same experience I do, which is close your eyes, go into a higher level of consciousness. And I'm aware of it. I'm conscious, but I'm experiencing the whole thing at a very, very, very different level of awareness. And so while I'm channeling the council, my eyes are closed. There's really nothing to see except for Mike's handsome face. And so my eyes will be closed. My hands move quite a bit. It might, when you're watching it, your brain might try to figure out what's going on, right? Where'd Sara go? Why is her eyes closed? Try as much as you can to just really feel the energy and the wisdom that comes through. Mike, you said when we were talking on the Facebook Live video that we did, that your mom said, don't worry about where the information's coming from. Just listen to the information. Just listen to the information. See how you feel. It may take you a few minutes to kind of let go and come into the vibration of what they bring through, but it's an amazing experience. Let yourself just feel it. And as much as you can, just not try to figure out what's going on and enjoy it. Okay.
We're on.
Okay. So here's how it goes. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to take about 3 really, really deep breaths. And then the council will start with a message for us. I encourage you to close your eyes and do the same while I'm bringing in the council. And then Mike will turn it over for you to you, and you can ask your questions. Awesome. Here we go. We are so pleased and delighted to have the opportunity to speak with you on this fine and glorious day indeed. And we tell you that while our words to you are important, this is a vibrational experience of remembering who you really are and why you are here, and all that you intended when you chose this magnificent life experience, because we assure you, life is meant to be so very good for you. You are here for the expansion of your soul, for the expansion of consciousness. You are here to express all that you are and to have the experiences you want to have for you as you explore and play and create as the master that you are, having this magnificent human experience. We could not be more excited for you and this time where you can live in a state of consciousness that you call heaven on earth or a new earth. It is here for you now. It is available to all of you. And there is something within you that knows, that remembers that it's possible for you. Allow it in, allow it in, allow it in. And we will answer all of your questions in this time, even though we know there are hundreds of them. And so when you listen to this again and again and again, you will hear more every time. But we are ready to begin. Where would you like to start, our friend?
Oh, Council, it's great to be with you. Thank you so much. I've missed you. It's been a long time, so to speak, since we had a private chat. I think of you often, but and thanks for all the advice you've given me already. But for the benefit of everybody else, can you tell us what realm or dimension that you're coming from right now? Because many of us are familiar with Seth, with Ramtha, Abraham, Edgar Casey. How do you compare? Are you similar to them? Did you have former lifetimes here? Let everybody know.
Indeed, we are a collective of ascended master beings, and it is our great love for humanity, for the planet, for this human experience that focuses us into the awareness and consciousness where we are available to you. You're in a human experience where many of you are in a dimension of consciousness where you experience separation. The third dimension is an experience of separation, good, bad, right, wrong. You think that you are this body, and anything that is not your body or you is outside of you or separate from you. So in your question, you create a polarity. Are we here or there? And if we're there, where, which dimension? But understand that as you reemerge back into the isness of all that is, which is possible for every single one of you, as you elevate your own consciousness into a state of pure love, you come into oneness. You come into unity, you come into the God consciousness, which means you're not separate from anything. And so your level of vibration and the level of consciousness you're in determines the dimension that you're in. However, we are not separate from anything. We are not here and not there, and nor are you. You recently talked about being separate from your beloved animal companion, and yet you understand there's a multidimensional nature where the consciousness that you are was not separated by geography or time or space. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So
Indeed.
we are you. You are us. You are the council here on earth. You are ascended master beings yourself. Every single one of you, if you're listening to this, we assure you, we promise you, you drew this conversation to you so that you can remember.
Hmm. So that's very powerful and extremely lofty. Um, I understand that we are all one, and at the highest level, at every level, we're all one. At the highest level, it's easier to perhaps see that. So we could easily say, I am one with Seth, I am one with Ramtha, I am one with Abraham, and that's so true. But for the human mind, it's kind of romantic and juicy to think, okay, the council once lived in Atlantis, or the Pleiades, or Mars, or can you throw a bone and get a little bit more um, intimate with maybe your experiences in the jungles of time and space, or like many beings they've never experienced a physical lifetime in time and space, such as the angels, who are kind of our intermediary. Would you fall in the category of angel, even though you're one with us, or you said ascended master? Did elements of you walk this planet or other planets?
Indeed, and do now, and we'll explain that. You said, were you once in Atlantis, or were you once in the as Pleiadians? And we are now, and are you. And we understand that you are physically focused in a physical body, where you are interpreting what is real by your physical senses. And therefore, unless you begin to tune your awareness into the multidimensional nature that you are, it will seem frazzling to your brain, because you're trying to intellectualize something with your limited human senses.
Mm-hmm.
And we want you to feel into all that you are. We understand, and to call you a soul, to call us entities, it's all correct. However, what you really are, and what we really are, is a force field of consciousness. A force field of consciousness. And if you think about this expansive light that shines, within that light is a force field of consciousness. And there's no limit to that. It's eternal. And all the experiences that you have in every existence, in every dimension, leads to greater expansion, leads to data and information that allow you to more clearly and confidently choose the realities that you want to create and experience for you. So all the experiences that you have had have led you to this moment, and yet all of the consciousness that is you and will ever be you is always available to you. It is the level of consciousness that you're in that determines the level of awareness that you have access to.
Mm-hmm.
So to name us, and to even name you, really begins to limit you. When we call you Mike, that means you're not all the other multidimensional aspects of you. You're just limiting your experience or your reality to the human that you call Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So to even define God would be to start limiting God. And we'll tell you that the ascended masters are an extension of you. Archangels are an extension of you, and your power, and your awareness, and your consciousness, and your gifts, and your abilities, and it's all available to you. If you resonate with Pleiadians, then it's because it's a part of you. If you resonate with the stories of Atlantis, then that is a part of you. And it is about moving your awareness, where you begin to open up to a higher level of consciousness and a grander perspective, where you begin to access that multidimensional part of you. It's more important that you begin to tune into all that you are.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Challenge accepted. I will do that. Another question on the channeling and the energy and your source, and then we'll go into purpose and some of the submitted questions. But as you and I have talked many times before about the topic of enlightenment, and I know that it's there, it's already happened. It's a matter of recognizing what is and seeing the oneness, etc. And at that point, I will be, let's just say, more me, but not to limit myself as only me, but as I define myself as me, that me will have a much huger perspective, and I'll be able to talk to Sara, the counsel, in this incarnate experience. But it'll just be me exponentially blown up because I've let down my barriers and I've let in the truth, and I'm not clouded with confusion. So, would I then be channeling a higher version of myself? And I can see when I ask the question, I'm already creating a limit. There is no limit. But then why is it Sara and the council? That's a limit. Why is it Jane Roberts and the Seth material? Why is it Jay-Z Knight and Ramtha? How come it's not Jay-Z Knight's greater self because she's tuning in to all that she truly is? Why does it often seem with channels that and maybe it's just nomenclature and we're all saying the same thing and I'm kind of parsing it in ways that need not be parsed. But are you a greater portion of Sara, or are you coming through this window that Sara has learned how to open? Do you see the question?
Indeed. It's an expression. It's a way of expressing. So you spoke with Sara before we began, and she has a personality, and she is an expression. We don't call it ego. We call it a personality. You have a magnificent personality. Mike is a magnificent personality. And when you begin to access other expanded parts of you, other aspects of you, and other levels of consciousness, it will feel like a different expression. And you're giving those different expressions a different name. We are the consciousness expressing, and we are all of your higher selves. You are all channeling your higher selves, your guide, the highest guidance to you. You channeled this information to you, even though you're experiencing it or believe you're experiencing it as Sara's the one channeling it, you are. And so it's an expression. You could just call it whatever you wanted, but it's a way of providing a way to recognize the expression of source energy in this way. There's no wrong way, and there's really no right way. It's what feels good to you. Sara calls us the council because that's what it feels like to her. And in one of her very first experiences of bringing us through, she saw herself walking into a council of magnificent beings of light sitting around a table, and there was an open chair, and she came to the chair and sat down and became part of the council. And that's when we began to move through, and that's her experience. That's what feels good to her, and that's what many of you resonate with too. There is energy in all words. There are energy in all names. Think of a name of someone you really like, and if you meet someone else with that name, you tend to have a wonderful affection to them because they share a name of someone you like or love. It's not wrong. Does it limit? Of course, but that's okay. So all of you have access to this. It is a relationship. It is something that you tune into, and you create this beautiful relationship with you and the source that is you.
Okay.
And so we'll make it very easy for you. You are either doubting and denying source energy. Oh, well, I can't do that. Well, I don't have enough money. Well, I'm too old. Well, I don't know how to do that. I don't have a certification. I can't, I don't, I won't, I should, I'm supposed to, I was gonna, I need to, I have to. You doubt and deny your power, your source energy all the time. It's much harder to doubt and deny it than it is to simply allow it. And you allow it by going beyond judgment. By going beyond judgment, lack, limitation, where you begin to allow yourself into the higher dimensions of consciousness of pure love. When you begin to look upon yourself and all others with pure, unconditional love for just where they are and who they are in this moment, when you begin to see them as the divine and you see the divine in you, you are allowing, because you're not creating a story of your lack and limitation or theirs, that doubt and deny the source energy that is always here for you. And it
Mhm.
can be sneaky because you have a lot of habits of judgment, not even realizing you do. However, the good news is the more you allow yourself in a vibration of joy, the more you feel joyful and do the things that bring you joy, and you play and you have fun and you let yourself create in ways that feel good to you, the more you will raise your vibration, which will raise your consciousness, which will make it easier and easier and easier for you to allow your highest good and your highest well-being and the source energy to flow through you into your reality.
Well, here's a question on the heels of that. Thank you so much. I read recently in quite a mind-expanding book about a way of looking at personality, and distilled the expression was, or the realization was, that we're all kind of like vessels through which the same God is poured. God is poured through me. God, for lack of a better word, certainly not a religious God. You know what I'm talking about, but to help other folks. But the God that is poured through me is the exact same God poured through any and every human being, creature, alien. We're going to get to aliens in a minute. And it's our personality, AKA our beliefs, our layers of truth or denial and all that stuff that creates a personality. Is that the way you also see it, that we're all the same? And this book went on to say that, really humans don't exist. They're just this collection of beliefs. So at what point would you dilute your existence by opening up so much that you're just pure God, and you're just pure truth, and you're just pure allowance, and you're just pure love, and now you're just like, you're not even there anymore, because you're just, total allowance? Is there a point at which we need to have limits to maintain a personality? And so what do you think of that? That we're all the same essence, just filtered differently. And at some point, peeling away these filters, we're gone. We're not even here anymore.
So indeed, we would agree. You came from source, you will return to source. Source is what you are. You came from God, you will return to God. God is what you are. You came from the light, you will return to the light. The light is what you are. But how fun is it that you
Yeah.
focused yourself into this human experience, into this dimension of consciousness where you could explore creating realities in physical form, play and create and have fun as the eternal source energy that you are. That's why you're here. Now,
Yes. The
every
adventure of it.
single, indeed, it is. You said this was like a vacation. Your life experiences are most closely comparable to having a grand vacation. Why would you go on vacation? To have new experiences, to have a good time, to relax and do the things you want to do, to explore people and food and cultures and places, and dance and play and have fun and rest when you want to and do what you want each day. That is what you're here for in the human experience. You came into this experience of form, this level of consciousness where you can play and create realities in physical form. Now, it gets really, really, really fun. And the answer to many of your questions is that when you understand you're a multidimensional being, and that when you begin to play and create in higher dimensions of consciousness, such that everything is here now, you do not impose lack and limitation on your creation. True creation has no agenda. It doesn't come from lack. It doesn't come from limitation. It comes from being in the fullness and the wholeness and completeness of all that you are. And you get more of what you're focused on. An expansion can be an experience where you're creating realities of more love and more harmony and more abundance and more well-being and more joy and more freedom and more fun, where you never have to experience the lack and limitation to be the powerful creators of your reality that you're here to be, to play and create and have fun. Now,
Totally. Yes.
Humanity, but most specifically, all of you who drew yourself into this vibrational experience here today, have reached a level of consciousness where so much more is available to you now than it ever was before, which is why we would explain that channels of higher wisdom in years past had a different experience of channeling, like trance channeling, because the vibrational level of the human body was not where it is now. As you talk about enlightenment, the more you take your being into a higher level of consciousness and vibration, the more light begins to regenerate and rejuvenate in your cells. Your cells begin to regenerate and rejuvenate in a way that they have a greater capacity to hold more light and higher vibrations and frequencies, where you do literally ascend into higher levels of consciousness while still playing and creating in physical form and living your lives to the fullest as the beautiful, magnificent personalities that you are. We say that in heaven on earth, or a new earth, you don't all choose the same things. You don't all choose and focus on the same things. But what you're focused on and the meaning you're giving it is what is creating your reality. So you might really, really love adventures, and everything's an adventure. Every day's an adventure. Every meal's an adventure. You're focused on adventure, and the meaning you give everything is adventure. Then you expand and play and create more adventures. Some may be focused on love, and they're focusing on love, and the meaning that they're giving everything is that it's love, and that it's here as unconditional pure love, and they will expand the love, and they'll feel more love, and they'll experience more love, because they are creating it by what they're focused on and the meaning they're giving it. But they don't have to experience the lack and limitation of it to expand and create more, or express more fully in those creations, and have the experiences you want to have for you. It doesn't matter what it is. And in New Earth realities, in heaven on earth, you don't all choose the same thing. And you, as free, sovereign, divine beings, in your wholeness, in your fullness, in your completeness, come to the realization that you don't have to control or choose for any other, for you to be able to have the life you want to experience for you, for you to be able to create the reality you want to create for you. See, that's a way you doubt and deny your power. He won't let me, she won't let me, they won't go along with it, they're not going to do it, they don't want what I want. And yet your focus upon that is what continues to recreate a reality where you think you have to change others or control others to get what you want, versus coming into a higher level of consciousness and focusing on the reality that you want to choose and create for you, and allowing that to present itself to you in the most magical, magnificent, easy, effortless, harmonious ways. But you're either allowing that or you're doubting and denying your power, because you have all these stories about what you can have and why you can have it, or how you can have it, or why you don't have it, or why they won't let you have it. And so you're really in a very, very exciting time on the planet right now. In fact, every single one of you came forth to be part of this great transformation of consciousness that is happening on your planet at this time. You might call it a great awakening. You came to first fully awaken to the truth of who you are, and to come into the realization, which is the integration of every part of you, including the integration of your soul and your higher self, and the extensions of you that many of you call your soul team or your soul family or your guides. You came here to come into, to wake up, to come into the awakening, to come into realization, to come into the realization of the embodied, enlightened masters that you are, and then to stay on the planet and live your life to the fullest. Live fully, love fully, and be all that you are, whatever that means for you. Being in an embodied state of realization and integration.
Yes.
While playing, creating, and having fun.
Let me recap, because this has been so powerful and so resonant. Life is totally about the adventure. We are of God, by God, pure God, in one big pool, kind of boring, but we come here and we develop personalities. We become lenses through which God is poured, and it's a big charade, but it makes the adventure possible. And the more we open and allow AKA enlightenment. Not that that's a goal, but the more that we open and allow the truth and have less confusion, the more fun it becomes, the more love that is shared, the more truth we see. It gets better and better. And right now, as I've heard you say many times before, it's echoed around the planet. The vibrations, for lack of a better word, the energy on the planet and within all human beings is rising rapidly like never before. So doing things like tuning in, like channeling, like opening and allowing, like thinking thoughts you've never thought before, you can just suddenly lasso them in, is happening at a faster clip than ever before. There's an energy right now that didn't exist on planet Earth 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 2,000 years ago. But now we're here at this opening, if you will, and things are getting so crazy, sexy, cool. I know that there's going to be some questions on this line. This is a big adventure and it's for the fun of it. It's in a vacation for our souls to dabble in these jungles of these sacred, magical jungles of time and space. One of our participants' questions was, why doesn't God get rid of all the suffering and evil in the world?
Well, really what you're experiencing when you call evil, fear, suffering in the world is a lower level of consciousness.
Confusion, right.
It's a lower level of consciousness. Only you raising your own consciousness can elevate yourself and your experience out of the suffering. And the more of you that do will contribute to humanity remembering that they too can elevate themselves out of suffering in any moment. You are not here to fix a broken world. You are not here to save a broken world. In fact, you've got to go down in and entangle with the suffering and the lack and the limitation to try to fix it and push and force energy where you think it should go. And the easiest, most effortless, and most powerful and expeditious path for elevating humanity out of suffering is for you to choose it for yourself, which means you do not retell the story again and again and again and again about why you were wronged or why you're a victim or who did this to you or why you didn't get what you wanted or why you can't have what you want. And you will always cause your own suffering when you think you know what another soul's journey should be. Every single one of you focused yourself into this human experience to have your own experience. And you will cause your own suffering when you try to choose the path for another, no matter who it is. And we know you love them so much. But the most important thing you can do with all that love you have for others is to fill yourself up with all of you and elevate yourself into joy, into peace, into harmony, into a state of well-being and love and freedom. Because then humanity will also remember that that is possible for them too. One of you connected to the vibration of the truth of who you are, which feels like pure love or pure joy or pure bliss, is more powerful than millions that are not. Not more powerful in a forceful, try to get them to change or do something way, in a way of illuminating the path, in a way of shining the light, in a way of bringing vibration and consciousness into a room, into a place, into a relationship, into a conversation, where more and more is possible because of the consciousness and the vibration that you yourself are bringing. There are different dimensions of consciousness, and it is determined by your rate of vibration, the frequency that you're in. And so the third dimension of consciousness is the consciousness of separation, the dimension of separation, where there's right or wrong and fear and lack and limitation and suffering and struggling and pushing and forcing. And in order to make things happen in that lower dimension of consciousness, in that slower rate of vibration or frequency, you have to push and force and effort. And it takes a lot because you're not fully allowing the I am creator frequency that is you and is always available to you. That's the source energy that creates worlds. When you begin to raise your vibration and your frequency, you begin to access higher levels of consciousness. The fourth dimension of consciousness is the dimension of transformation, where you begin to understand that you can change your circumstances and your conditions and heal and elevate yourself out of the past or the old or the struggle. What happens though in the dimension of transformation is you're always trying to fix yourself and others. And so there's this judgment there. Is it right or is it wrong? Which keeps you from accessing pure love, which is oneness consciousness, God consciousness, the fifth dimension, heaven on earth, a new earth. The doorway is to let go of judgment of yourself or anything. And you do that, especially for yourself, by choosing the highest truth, which is everything is always happening for you. So, for example, many of you began to be aware that when there was misalignment or dis-ease in the body, that there was an emotional reason for this. And you began to go, oh, it's not just a random thing that happened to me, this pain in my body. This is a message, because there's something not right emotionally that's blocking me, that is not allowing the energy to naturally flow to this part of my body. So then you begin to go, oh, what's wrong? What do I need to fix? What do I need to fix in the emotional layer? And there's nothing wrong with that. However, there is even a grander perspective or a higher dimension of consciousness beyond that, where you don't judge yourself at all. You know that you are creator within your own creation. You know that everything is always happening for you, that you don't judge anything. And you know that everything is a gift and a blessing and an opportunity that is bringing you into a higher level of your power, so you can get clear on what you really want and create the reality that you want to choose for you as the powerful creator that you are. This is a game. This is a game. You are playing a masterful game. Anyone who's ever played any game or any sport or plays an instrument or has some sort of talent, the more you practice and the more you practice and the better you get, the more fun and the more creative and the better it gets and the more inspired you are. So if you're a baseball player and you practice throwing the ball and you get good at that, and you practice hitting the ball and you get good at that, and you get to a point of mastery where you get to play a really big game, a really fun game, a really exciting game. It's the same here. It's practicing, choosing freedom. We can talk about all the different practices or a few that would be very helpful for you. But as you practice it, when it's easy, you will come into a level of mastery of the game of this life that you're living, and it'll be really, really fun for you. In fact, you will begin to laugh at yourself and acknowledge that most of your thoughts are quite silly. Most of your stories are quite silly, and most of the lack and the limitation you create for yourself is quite silly. And you'll say, oh, so this is the game I'm playing with myself right now. So first thing we tell you is, in every moment, no matter what is going on, there is a grander perspective that if you can elevate your consciousness to that grander perspective, you will instantly feel peace. You will instantly feel connected to source. You will access your power, and the next perfect step will come. You will be able to follow energy and let light guide the way. And then you don't need to figure everything out or stress or worry ever again.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's powerful. So it's a game of thoughts and what to focus on and what to let go. Is that it entirely?
Well, and your thoughts affect your emotions. So your emotions are indicators of the thoughts that you're thinking, whether you're aligned to your truth and your power. When you're thinking, oh, I can't do that because I don't have the money. I'd really like to create this wonderful thing, but I can't because I don't have the money. You are not allowing the infinite abundance that is always here for you and always supporting you. You're making money the middleman. You're holding yourself in lack and limitation and being a victim. That's why you feel so awful. That's where the emotion comes from. So thoughts, as you focus them in this holographic image that you are projecting into this force field of consciousness. So to explain to you how you create reality, most all of what you call your ideas come from inspiration, which means you channeled them. And most all of you would say, I want more inspiration. I want more creativity. I want more passion. So as you're allowing yourself into these higher levels of consciousness, your thoughts what you focus on and the meaning you give it, you start creating holographic images in your mind. You live in a holographic reality far more than you realize, but because of the rate of vibration of your human experience in physical form, it seems like things are far more solid than they really are. Now, that's a good thing, because all of a sudden, if you started thinking about someone else, the person you were just with wouldn't be there. Or if you started thinking about a different place, you'd instantly be there, and maybe you didn't want to go there yet. But you live in a far more holographic reality than you realize. So you are projecting these holographic images into the force field of consciousness that is you. It is not limited to your physical body. You are a force field of consciousness. When you're projecting these holographic images into your force field of consciousness, the particles of infinite creation that are always responding to you begin to draw to you more, or that which is in alignment with that holographic image that you're projecting into your force field of consciousness. The particles of infinite creation, while we would like to say they're neutral, they are absolute love. They are absolute love that are always responding to you. Reality is moving through you, through the force field of consciousness that is you. But most of you experience it as a human in a physical body separate from what you call reality, and you think you're moving through reality, but reality is moving through you, the force field of consciousness that is the grander part of you. Do you understand?
Yes, fantastic. I had myself muted for a moment there. So very powerful, very cool. A lot of folks asked questions that would fit right in this moment about COVID. What is it? What's going on? What are your views on vaccines? Sorry to put you in the fire there. And is there anything else we could or should be doing to protect ourselves or to deal with it?
So first off, viruses are upgrading systems. Did they have the intelligence level that you as a human have? No, but they are upgrading systems. Viruses have been around for a very, 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 very long time on your planet. It's not here to destroy you. It is showing you your power, your consciousness level. And so it is about bringing systems into balance, your own system. It is about upgrading your own system and bringing your system into balance so that you can begin to experience these higher levels of consciousness and vibration, the new energy, the new consciousness, and these new earth realities. It is contributing to the transformation of consciousness and to the great awakening on your planet at this time. But notice yourself, whether you unconsciously go into fear or lack and limitation, or whether you can stay in your power and choose the experience you want to have for you. This is bringing up a lot of powerlessness on your planet, a lot of powerlessness, a lot of fear, a lot of limitation, all of which you personally can transcend if that is your choosing. You could take the perspective, as we offered very early on in this experience of the coronavirus on your planet, that this was here for you and that it was elevating your experiences and your consciousness, and you would have an experience of that where that was your reality. We have many people ask us about whether to get the virus or not, and we'll start by telling you that no one, the vaccines, that no one, well, or the virus or not. So understand that no one outside of you has the answer of whether you should or should not do anything. Only you can choose for you. But here's what will really help you. If it is not choiceless for you in this moment to get the vaccine from the highest level of consciousness where you're totally clear and confident in that choice, then it's not the time for you to make that choice. And if you're creating an experience of lack and limitation, well, they say I have to do it now, or there's only this many, or this person's telling me I have to do it, then you are in lack and limitation. And if we could say anything to you all, it's about coming into the highest level of consciousness and then choosing from there, living from there, expressing yourself from there. So when and if a moment comes where it's just choiceless to get the vaccine, then that's your answer. If you're not there yet, be kind to yourself, come into a state of peace as often as possible, and you will know when and if it is time for you. Now, the second and really important piece of that is what you put in your body is far less important than how you feel about what you're putting in your body. Most all humans consume unconsciously all day long. And so in an unconscious state where most people are stressed, worried, fearful, suffering, struggling, anxious, that is the energy that's going into your body. And so you wonder why you're not getting the nutrition, or why your body isn't functioning, and why the food isn't as nurturing and nourishing to your body as you would like it to be. It's the level of consciousness you're in when you're consuming it. And so this is why in times when you prayed over food and made it a ceremony or a celebration or a sacred experience, you yourselves were elevating your consciousness and consuming food more consciously, which was far more nurturing and nourishing to your body. But as it relates to the vaccine, if you come to a moment where it's a clear, confident, choiceless decision for you to get the vaccine and you're peaceful about it and you feel good about it, then the most important thing is in the moment that you're getting it, get into the highest level of consciousness, come into the highest level of love and joy and appreciation, and see it as light going into your body and nurturing and nourishing every cell of your body and infusing light into your body. See it as light, see it as love, bless it, thank it, stay in that energy as you're getting it, as you go home from it, for as much time as you can. If you keep yourself in the highest level of consciousness and see it as light and bless it, you will have a very different experience than if you are putting something in your body out of lack and fear. You're far more powerful than you realize yourselves to be. Do you understand?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Everybody has to make that decision for themselves. A question I promised my platform that I would ask. I've heard from numerous camps, including the Seth material, which, I have a great reverence for, that, you got to do the work. Okay. It's beautiful work, and life is awesome and it's an adventure. But, if you don't reflect and consider and wonder how else you could view a situation, at what higher angle or perspective you could live at, then you're going to probably likely for some time perpetuate that which you don't like. Whereas another approach to loving the adventure is just follow your bliss, be happy in the moment, which, I can see how they could go together. But still, can you speak to what seems like two very different schools of thoughts, two very different approach? One is do the inner work. The other one is, don't do the work. Go play and have fun and be like a child. Which should we do?
Let's explain why. So be like a child, be in your innocence, which is fully allowing the wholeness and the completeness and the totality of all that you are. When a child or a person is totally in their innocence, they're allowing all that they are, which includes the source energy that they are. We say follow your bliss and do the things you love and do the things that bring you joy, because we know that in doing that, you will be in higher vibrations, which will allow you to access higher levels of consciousness.
And might I say, it will draw you into a journey where the lions and tigers and bears show up, but you're having so much fun, you're going to deal with them. Whereas before, sitting at home in fear, you didn't do the work, you didn't have fun.
Well, and so the work, what we would say is slow down. Stillness is the access point to acceleration in your life. And here's why. if you're upset about something and you call someone and you yell at them and you tell them the way it should be because you're triggered and they shouldn't have done that and they need to do this, the vibrational price that you yourself pay is so costly. So when you get triggered, slow down. Don't react from a triggered place. Come into the highest level of consciousness, and the inspiration of the highest words or the highest possible outcome will come through you or present itself to you. But the work is to get yourself into the highest level of consciousness before you do anything, and you won't create chaos and trauma and drama and lack and limitation and fear and separation in your life. So when you're triggered, we're not asking you to go dig up old stories and where did that come from and who told you that you weren't good enough and why are you unworthy. But there's something in that moment of being triggered where you're telling yourself a story that is not aligned to the truth of who you are. And usually it's about feeling unworthy or not being free. When you feel unworthy, well, they were talking bad about me, or they don't like me, or they won't let me, or this is going on in the news and this is going to affect my life. You are creating a story that you are unworthy of the power that is you, that creates worlds where you can create any reality you choose for you, no matter what anyone chooses for themselves. And if you were in the truth of that, in that level of consciousness, you wouldn't be triggered and reacting to or in resistance to what is going on in the news. The same is true with freedom. When you focus your power on all those who are taking your freedom, you are giving your power and your freedom to them. And what you really want is the freedom to be who you are and live your life fully and love fully and create the life that you want to live for you. And you are free and sovereign in every way to create your reality the way you want it to be. But most of you think, well, that would take big changes and that would hurt people and that would be terrible and that would be so difficult. And you know this from experiences of the past of being in lower dimensions of consciousness and having to push and force and struggle. But that's not where you are now. And as you bring yourself into higher levels of consciousness, you will experience harmonious relationships, your highest well-being, freedom, joy, expansion, abundance on levels that you've never experienced before. But you can't try to drag the old way of pushing and forcing and figuring it out and making it happen into this new consciousness and new energy or new earth reality. You cannot take worry, judgment, suffering, struggle, victim mentality. You cannot take these things into a new earth. You simply can't. So when you say, well, I don't know, it doesn't feel like heaven on earth to me, it's because you're trying to drag something with you that simply can't go. These old stories of lack and limitation and why you're a victim and why you are some sort of fallen angel or sinner can't go with you into heaven on earth. So it's not that you have to physically die, but you have to let go of the old to allow yourself into the new. And you're exactly correct. When you do, everything in your life becomes more peaceful, more joyful, more abundant, easier, happier, freer. And you will realize that life really is meant to be so good for you, that galore, I have everything I need and more. And you come to this place where you know that you are worthy, not just of having what you want and need, but worthy of what you want and need showing up even before you know you need it, because that's how worthy you are, and that's how loved you are, and that's how powerful you are. And that's how perfect the universe is. And that's how perfect source energy is to support you in the creation of the life that you want to live for you.
Almost goalless living, just be happy and you don't need to chart the course.
Well, true creation, which is what you all are really going for at this point is true creation. It has no agenda. And so most of you have spent your lives motivated to avoid unwanted circumstances. I don't want to come to the end of my money. I don't want to run out of money. I don't want to come to a place where I don't have love, or I'm old and I'm by myself. I don't want to grow old and be by myself. I don't want to get old and have no retirement. I don't want to miss out. It's this belief that if you go do more and do more and do more and do more, then you'll come to some realized goal where finally you're enough. So you're constantly motivated to avoid unwanted circumstances. And the biggest thing you're trying to avoid unconsciously is not being enough, not being worthy.
And so what are some steps to get in the groove? You've given us many, but can we consolidate maybe the top 3 things to do to begin opening and allowing and letting go of this junk in the past? Have you ever put it that way?
The reason you've had so many conversations about meditation and breathing and these types of things it's to bring you to a moment where you are conscious and present, and you allow the source energy that is here for you, or the higher level of consciousness that is available to you in every moment. But if you're running around chasing after everything and trying to figure it all out in your head and trying to make it happen and figuring out all the options, you can't hear, you can't see, you can't feel the easy, effortless, harmonious way. So when you come into a place where you align to being fully present and conscious in the moment, feeling maybe even a sense of peace or joyfulness, and practice this when it's easy. When everything's going good, practice coming into the moment and breathing consciously. We say take 3 deep breaths. If we were to give you one practice and just one thing that would work for everything, it would be this, but it's so simple. And you think, well, I want something more. I want it to be harder, because then I'll feel like it's really working. But really, 3 deep breaths. If you take a deep breath, take a second deep breath, take a third deep breath, and come into the moment, you'll notice that you feel your power, that there's a peace. There's even maybe a knowing that all is well. You're right where you're supposed to be. And then you can, because you're not in resistance and in reaction and pushing against, you can start allowing. So again, you're either doubting or denying your power or the source energy that's always available to you, or you're allowing it. Now, if you're having fun and playing and creating and doing the things that bring you joy, you're naturally allowing it. In fact, the instant manifestation of allowing is joy. So you can either focus on joy to get into a state of allowing, or focus on allowing and you'll know you're there because you feel joyful. So practice breathing yourself into a joyful state, or ask yourself the question, what can I do right now that would bring me joy? What can I do right now that would bring me joy? Another important practice. There is one answer to every question. And if you will remember this, when you think you have a problem or an issue or a situation or a question that you don't know the answer to, there's only one answer. You are creator within your own creation. You are creator within your own creation. And there is this radical responsibility as you come into realizing that you are creator within your own creation. Now, this is what trips most people up on this path, because in coming into taking complete and total responsibility as creator within your own creation, you start judging yourself. And the judgment can very quickly bring you spiraling down into lower dimensions of consciousness. And you would say, well, this doesn't work. And we'd say it works perfectly. But you, instead of coming into a level of responsibility for yourself as creator within your own creation to create your reality any way you want it to be, went into judgment and started feeling shame and resentment for your past creations. There is never any judgment from our side ever. There is never any judgment from your higher self, and there's never any judgment from anyone else's higher self ever, ever about anything. It is understood that pain, struggle, suffering, all the unwanted things within the human experience occur in a lower level of consciousness, and it's understood that you're here exploring consciousness in physical form. So there's no judgment from our side ever. When you start judging yourself, you begin to slow your rate of vibration and frequency, and it feels really awful because you feel alone, you feel stuck, you feel shameful. The heaviest, densest human emotion is shame. And when you start judging yourself in an effort to take responsibility, you move into resentment or shame or fear. And we'll just say it's completely unnecessary because there is no judgment ever. But this is yet again why you fear death, because deep down somewhere, you're still telling yourself this story that maybe you're a sinner or a fallen angel, or maybe you're going to get to heaven and they're not going to let you in, and they're going to call you a sinner and damn you to eternity in hell.
Wow.
Hell is a state of consciousness on this planet that is experienced when you are in a very low frequency in incredible density.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask, as I promised I would, about, and changing the subject maybe too abruptly, if we need to finish a thought there, please do, but aliens. I mean, of course, we're the aliens to them, but beings that are not human from different planets, or maybe they are human, but on different planets, and all the UFO sightings and videos. Can you speak briefly about that?
Well, we probably couldn't convince any of you that you're all there is in all of the universe. Most all of you understand there is intelligence, and you understand this by understanding that your own consciousness is not limited to your brain or your physical human body. And so, like we were talking about other words or names, aliens, UFOs, conspiracy doesn't carry a vibrational alignment to the divine infinite beings throughout the universe who love you, who know you, who understand you. Earth has a very important role in the universe, and you are supported. However, it is also known that the human experiment, as we will call it, is an experience of free will. And other levels of consciousness cannot interfere or choose for you or take your free will. All of you tuned into this conversation with higher levels of consciousness based on your own free will. But you have to be in this human experience, becoming aware of higher levels of consciousness and divine beings beyond just this human experience to access the guidance and information that is available to you. So you focused yourself into the human experience. The most important thing going on here is the human experience, really, truly. So there's a knowing that there's more. There's a knowing that there's higher guidance available to you. There's a knowing that there is infinite intelligence, which is why your curiosity about extraterrestrials or UFOs or aliens. So the more that you can be holding a vibration of the infinite love of these beings and the support that these beings have for the Earth experience, not intending to interfere, and certainly not as your enemy, you will begin to seed human consciousness with new potentials for what connecting to extraterrestrials could mean for all of you. But that's precisely what you're doing here. You're opening up your own channels, your own vessels, your own little spaceships to explore the universe, to explore multiple dimensions of consciousness, to explore your multidimensional nature. But understand that the intention of all of this is so that your human experience can be everything that you intended it to be, so that you can live your highest potential on the planet at this time, because as you do, you inspire humanity. You create a path where it makes it easier and more harmonious for others to reach higher levels of consciousness and elevate themselves out of lack and limitation and fear and separation. But don't create lack and limitation and fear and separation with higher levels of consciousness. So when you see the conspiracy, or when you are giving your attention to conspiracies, you are creating separation. It might be intriguing to you, we understand, but remember the truth that there is no separation. And so if you start to focus on these conspiracies, we say do not give your attention to lower level agendas, because it will move you into lower dimensions of consciousness. And you might not correlate that that's what made you feel fearful or scared or hopeless, but it was entangling yourself in a conspiracy. You understand?
Yeah, I think many of us brim with excitement at the notion of outside visitors, and it's not so much a fear or a conspiracy. Just to kind of bring that up, it's like, are these brothers and sisters going to make themselves known anytime soon?
But you would have to be in a vibration and a frequency to see them, and that's where all of this is going.
Well, so much happens in our lives that I wouldn't feel like I'm in a vibrational experience to allow. Like, aliens are going to drop in or they're not going to drop in. Does it really have anything to do with whether I'm ready? And if I'm ready, but my next door neighbor's not ready, are they not going to see the news? It seems like a massive thing that's going to affect all of us.
Indeed, we understand your question. However, you are creator within your own creation. So if you are focused upon connecting to and communicating with and elevating your awareness to the level where extraterrestrial life exists, you're going to begin to draw that reality to you. So the same is true if someone believes there are dark forces, and will tell you there are no dark forces. There are lower levels of consciousness. In the moment, if you bring yourself into the highest level of consciousness and fill yourself up with all of you and be the love that you are, you will never have an experience of lower level energies or attachments or these types of fearful things. But if you're focused on the fearful thought, you will. If someone adamantly disbelieves that there are UFOs or that it's possible, one could land right on their doorstep and they themselves would not see it.
Mm-hmm. I believe you. Do you know all things from where you are right now, Counsel? I mean, could I ask you most anything within the confines of time, space, and matter? Do you have like all knowledge?
Yes, but so do you.
Thank you. And somebody else asked about the divisiveness that we see in the world and in politics right now. We only have like 6 minutes left, but could you just speak lightly on that, and then we'll see what else might pop up.
You are voting with your attention. You are voting with whatever you're getting your attention to. So if you want to create a more harmonious, cooperative, collaborative society, but all of your attention is going on being against certain political parties, you're not creating, as creator within your own creation, the experience you do want to have. You're focusing and giving all of your attention and voting with the energy you're directing on what you don't like. And you're getting more of that. You're voting with your attention. You're getting more of what you're focused on. When you're trying to fix the old and change the old, you're not creating as the powerful creator that you are. And the more of you that begin to tune your awareness into a grander perspective of what's possible for you in creating the world that you want to live in, you will begin to see that manifest in the world around you. And it doesn't matter what anyone else experiences, but when you turn a television on and you start focusing on something, you are literally focusing the force field of consciousness that is you into that holographic reality that you're giving your attention to. So you're adding to the energy of the politics. Or you're creating an experience of love and harmony and cooperation and collaboration where there is acceptance and understanding. But again, you can't be judging a politician and allowing acceptance and understanding.
But, no, I'm just kidding.
So we'll also say this about your physical bodies. You cannot be warring with something outside of you without that energy first moving through you. So many in the human experience, in their minds, in their thoughts, in the holographic images that they're projecting, are warring with someone in their head, warring with a group of people, warring with a politician, warring with someone from the past. That energy is moving through the cells in your body. And we know, and we say this with great love and no judgment from our side ever. Truly, we know no one would ever consciously, intentionally create cancer in their body. But what is it? It's when the body starts attacking itself, because the warring energy has been in your body for so long. You can elevate your physical body into your highest well-being by focusing on love and peace and harmony. But it starts with harmony and peace in your own thoughts and your own thinking, in this environment that is you. There really isn't anything outside of you the way you think it is.
Wow, this is so powerful.
If you want to change the world around you, you must first create the world you want to experience within you. Many of you say, I want a new earth. I want peace on earth. I want love and joy and harmony for all beings, and love and joy and harmony for the animals, and love and joy and harmony on the planet, with the planet, for the planet. And then you're warring in your head against yourself, against others, against politicians, against people from your past. You will only experience peace and joy and love and harmony on earth when you create it within yourself. And this is how powerful you are. And this is why you're listening to this. And this is why you're here. And this is why you came. You came to elevate the consciousness level of the planet. You came to raise the vibration. You came to create a world of peace and joy and love and harmony within you, so that peace and joy and love and harmony could be seated as the potential for all of humanity who are ready to choose it for themselves. When you ask us what your purpose is, we would say, what do you most want for the world around you? I want everyone to know they're loved. I want everyone to feel loved. Then your purpose is to create love within you. And your purpose is to be that love and expand that love and focus on that love in every area of your life. You understand?
Yes, I feel like woohooing. This has been so good. And you hit a lot of notes for me personally. I so appreciate it, Counselor. We're going to move towards wrapping it up. But before we do so, Sara and I, as you likely know, are putting together a workshop, a 4-part workshop. It's something that Sara has delivered many times before to help others channel. Which, could you speak to what that creates within the individual? Can you speak to the fact that we're all able to do this or not? What different forms can channeling take? Why would somebody like me, I mean, I know the answer, but somebody else might be wondering, want to learn how to channel? Because this is the course that Sara and I are going to be kicking off next week. It's going to run for 4 weeks, The Art of Channeling, an Adventure into Higher Wisdom. Before you leave, Council, can you speak to the virtues, the value, the applicability, the usefulness of channeling? And I know that you're going to be sharing and appearing during this workshop as well. So just want everybody to know that.
So every single one of you are vessels and conduits of source energy or divine love or truth into the world. You are all vessels. You are all conduits of light and love. You are all containers, vessels of infinite intelligence and infinite love and infinite well-being and infinite abundance. And that vessel, you're either cutting it off and slowing it down and limiting that divine love, or you're opening and expanding it and fully allowing it, which is what you intended to do as the extension of the source energy that is you when you focus yourself into this human experience. What you're calling channeling, the channel that you are, the vessel that you are, the conduit that you are, it's about consciously, intentionally opening and allowing all that is here for you and available for you in every moment. Mm-hmm. All of you have this and are this and can do this. When you want to have it all in your life, what you're really saying is, I want to fully open my channel to the infinite love and infinite well-being and infinite abundance and infinite intelligence that is the divine inherent birthright that I had when I came here. You just often have learned to limit it or doubt it or deny it or not trust it or think it's too easy or no, I don't know where that came from. But go outside and find something beautiful, or go somewhere in your house, or pet your cat, or look upon your beautiful child and intentionally, consciously feel the love or the beauty or the appreciation. If you were looking at a beautiful flower, really focus on that beautiful flower and then open up and allow source to see that beautiful flower through your eyes, to smell that beautiful flower through your nose. As you're gazing upon your beautiful daughter, open up and allow all of source to feel the love that you're feeling. And you will begin to open your channel and your awareness. Now, there's a whole lot of best practices, sort of say, where you learn to really trust it and you learn to allow it in a way that you can tune into this at any time and expand it. And it becomes your way of being and how you live your life. And you'll begin to notice that a whole lot of gifts and abilities and talents begin to present themselves to you. You've sort of known that there was more to you. You've sort of known you've had a greater calling or higher potential, but in opening fully and allowing the source energy that is always available to you, you will begin to channel to you all that is you and never was separate from you, but you have free will, and that's how powerful you are. You can doubt it and deny it if it is your choosing, but we think once most of you experience it, you will know that it is who you really are and how you intended your life to be.
Wow, that's so good. Channel to you, all of you. I am so ready to do that on a conscious, deliberate level. I think we're all channels. You have said as much, but this deliberate, intentional part to kind of open up as much as possible to allow more love and light in. This is where we're going, everybody. If you want to go deeper, if this resonates with you, if you want to connect at a higher level, open and allow, Sara, I, and the council will be, it'll be Sara and I. The council is going to pay a visit and tip their hat to us, are going to be doing this. The link is below right now, the video on the dashboard. We'll send you an email, I believe, tomorrow or tonight for those of you who would like to delve further into a 4-part online workshop. Council, you have been amazing as always. The deepest gratitude from the entirety and depths of my being to you.
You are everything you wish to be. You already are. It is all within you, and it always has been. Come into embodying the enlightened master that you are, so that you can live fully and love fully and be all that you are on the planet at this time. That is the most important thing. We are always with you. We are always available to you. We love you. We love you. We love you. And with that, we are complete.
Hey, Sara, that was really beautiful and powerful and just fantastic. Thank you so much. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel so amazing. Thank you. Just the love that I could feel pouring through them, and just their excitement for this conversation was just so beautiful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
Thank you. Were you there for every word of it? Do you feel like you were riding along with us, or how did that go for you?
Yes, but if you were to say, what did we talk about? I'd be like, oh, yes, I experience it from a much different level of awareness. But most of the time, I am trying to keep up to interpret the streams of consciousness that are flowing through. It's really, it's happening so instantaneously. It's finding the words that go with the stream of consciousness. They can only use the vocabulary that I have. They can only use the words I know. So I am, translating, interpreting these blocks of consciousness that they're flowing through. And for me, that seemed like about 15 minutes. If I were to say, how long were we just talking? I would say, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes. So my experience of time is very different. My experience of the space that we're in is very different. But I could tell there was so much that they really wanted to bring through in this time that it was, I was very much keeping up with their infinite intelligence that they're flowing through to us.
Wow. It's really so amazing. And I was interested when you said at the outset how first it was your brother you could communicate with, and then there was automatic writing. And so there was kind of you were working the muscle, you were breaking new ground. And it wasn't like, just one day you could totally channel the way you do now. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. And that being said, although it took me years of practicing and channeling almost every day and 6 to 8 hours a day, that I can take a breath, they're right there. I can hold the vibration and channel for hours and then come out of it and feel really, really, really good. And that awareness is always there if I allow it to be, right? They're always there. When I experience them personally in my life, it's a knowing, it's a guidance, it's clear. The second I get into the vibration of the council, it's just instantly like all is well. Everything is known. I don't have any questions.
Different than your own vibration. Like if you have a personal decision to make that's big and it's looming and you're going to decide as soon as you can, but it might be a couple of weeks. The council might have an opinion, but is there a differentiation between your higher self and the council?
Yes. And I'm laughing because they would say there are no big decisions, and they would say to allow all things to be choiceless. So if you're trying to make a big decision, you are holding yourself in lack of limitation, right? I'm in lack of time, so I have to make a decision. I'm creating limitation. There's only one or two options. And if I don't choose this, I might miss out. So we are actually then creating an experience of lack and limitation because we're in a lower level of consciousness and a lower rate of vibration, where now it feels like there's not enough, there's not enough. And they would say, that's why it feels like you have to make a big decision. If you're really conscious and present in the moment, it will come and it will be choiceless. And you will already have chosen before you realize you just made a quote unquote big decision. It was choiceless because we follow energy and let the light guide the way. So, for example, something that is going to happen in a week or two, and you're trying to figure it out now. The council said you would have to know every free will decision you and everybody else on the planet are going to make between now and a week from now. And you don't really need to run the universe in that way. You can follow the energy and let the light guide the way, and it'll be choiceless. You'll know when it's time to know. And so that's one of the most important transformational pieces of wisdom that has changed my life, where I allow things to be choiceless. If it's not choiceless, it's a no until it's a maybe. It's a I don't know, so I don't need to know. But in the moment that it's like, yes, that's when you choose, and it's choiceless. So.
And you've taught channeling for years now, right? And you find that there are people that go through your teaching and who then channel, or are in the beginning stages of developing it. Do you feel that is it like 1 out of 100, or can anybody get
so
good?
Well, it took me years and a whole lot of practice. What I was really working through is really allowing. That's what I was working through. So it took me a while because I didn't have a roadmap. And what we're going to share in the art of channeling is the roadmap that once I got to the place where I was going, I went, oh, this is how I got here. And I hope that helps everybody else who's ready to get there in such a more expeditious, easier, more effortless path than I took. Because, I didn't trust that it was always going to be there. I thought I was making it up. There's a whole lot of things that go on. There's a lot of things I thought it was that it's not. And, so while it took me a long time, what I see now is there's lots of people in our master's class that all of a sudden within a week or in a spontaneous experience, they're verbally channeling for themselves and for others, just because they've been in the vibration of the council, or because they were ready, or because they could totally open to it. And so, one of the things for me was, like I said in the beginning, I had a very, very loving Christian family, and, I didn't want to hurt anybody, and I didn't want to lose the love of my family. I didn't want to be weird and woo. If you'd have told me like years ago that I'm going to ever be on a platform of 25,000 people watching and I'm going to be channeling with my eyes closed and my hands waving around, I've been like, no way, we're not doing that. But when you love and accept yourself, everyone around you in your life will reflect that love and understanding and acceptance back to you. And so I had to walk through my greatest fears of losing the love of some of the most important people in my life if I shared my channeling with the world. But it just came to a point where I couldn't not do it. It's just who I am.
Yeah.
I love the council. I love their conversations. I love the wisdom. I love the information. It's my highest excitement. It's my pure joy. It's my bliss. I would do it no matter what, because it's changed my life. It's changed so many people's lives. I live a life absolutely beyond my wildest dreams because of this wisdom and because of opening to channel. And while it makes me so grateful that this wisdom is out in the world in the way it is my deepest desire for all those that are ready to open and access and develop their channel to infinite intelligence, so that they can live their own highest potential, whatever that means for you. There are many people that have gone through this channeling series that have reawakened or spontaneously awakened their abilities to paint or play music or write stories or do different hobbies and have gifts and abilities that have opened up. And some people are, channeling infinite intelligence and how to live a better life, or how to be healthier, or how to live agelessly. You get to choose. For me, and the council asked this question, something to this extent of, if this life is a journey somewhere, where are you going, right? What is this quest that you're on? For me, all my life, I remembered this part from the Bible that said, with God, all things are possible. And I wanted to know that. I wanted to understand that. I wanted somebody to explain that to me. And not just, well, that's what the Bible says, Sarah, with God, all things are possible. So you better have God, right? I really wanted to experience that. Also, anything is possible. I also really felt this higher potential that we have. And I wanted to explore that at the highest level. And I didn't want to work 12 hours a week and be on a plane every month and forcing and efforting and struggling and working really hard to live an extraordinary, beautiful, joyful life. It just didn't seem like it made any sense to me. And as you know my story, but I had experiences in my life where literally my body just said no, like easy, effortless, harmonious, or we ain't going there, right? And it was the council's incredible wisdom that, oh, wow. I mean, I just can't even express my deep, deep appreciation and so much love and appreciation for you to allow me to share the council with you and with this beautiful community. It's just my absolute joy.
You were amazing. The council was amazing. I am so inspired, and I so look forward to participating in this workshop because, I feel my own connections, but I want confidence in them, and I want to know a few simple techniques for a more effortless, more carefree, more joyful life. And I view channeling as kind of an on-ramp to greater awareness, more truth, enlightenment, being my full self. I loved what the council said. You will channel to you, all of you. Well, I didn't write that down very well. You will channel all of you. Anyway, I want to open up and be all of me is the impression. So I'm deeply grateful to you. I know everyone's deeply grateful for now an hour and 3/4 of your time and insights that really can light anybody up. It was just pure juice and pure infinite possibilities. So everybody, if you're interested in going further down this path with Sara and I and the council, the link is below in your dashboard. There will be a launch next week, The Art of Channeling. It will be recorded, but you can't sign up after. Either sign up between now and launch, or you'll have to wait until next year when it goes on sale or something. But if you sign up now or before launch, you can watch the recordings indefinitely on your dashboard. And by all means, we hope you join us live starting next week. The details are below, and we'll send you an email as well. Thank you, Sara. Love you. Love the council. Love you, everybody in attendance. Any parting words? You already did. I think we're set, right, Sara?
Thank you. Thank you. This was just amazing. And if anybody's like, wow, that blew my mind now, how do I get there, right? Just follow the energy, let the light guide the way, let it come to you. This is an amazing unfolding journey. Have fun with it, play, just really know that you're worthy of your life being beautiful, wonderful, abundant, and that you can access your highest well-being in any moment. It's always available to you. So I love you all. Thank you so much for this experience.
And thank you to the team behind the scenes that connected all these dots for us in both of our camps.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Love you all. Bye-bye.